Good afternoon. Today's spotlight, or this week's spotlight exercise or focus, is going to be, by request, some modifications for squats and lunges. So just to review, our plain squat, legs are about hip distance apart. I'm going to go sideways so you can see. Shoulders roll down and back. Your hips are going to hinge back a little. Your glutes are going to be tight. And then you're going to sit down, keeping the weight in your heels, not into the balls of your feet and not the heels up. So you're going to sit back and down and up, being conscious of a straight back. Weight is in the heels, abs are tight, glutes are squeezing. And that's your basic squat. Now, if you have to work on your position so it doesn't bother your knees, that's something we can do. But oftentimes you might have an injury or something going on. So you'll need a modification for the squat. There's a host of things you can do. It depends on whether you're working, your goal with the squat is more strength, stability, and balance, or to get your heart rate up. So to get your heart rate up, you're going to want to do a little bit more movement rather than a modification. So if you are in a class and you're doing squats, you want to stay away from them. You could do something as simple as alternating knee lifts, lifting up with the knee, back is straight. You could also be doing side leg lifts if you are modifying for a side squat, or you could also do rear leg extensions, whether you're modifying for a plain squat or if you're modifying for a lunge. So making sure that when you're doing any of those movements, you're keeping as many muscles contracted as possible. So for example, as you're doing your knee lifts, your back is straight, your abs are tight, and you pull that knee as high as you can, purposefully lifting. Side leg lifts, you're going to squeeze those glutes, keep the knee forward, keep the glutes tight. When you're going backwards, same thing. I'm going to keep contraction in the hamstring and the glute. I'm going to keep the leg relatively long. I'm going to keep the abs tight, trunk steady, and try to recruit as many of those muscles as possible. So that's more of a cardio version for amping up your squat option. Some other options would be having a chair nearby. Perhaps the squat is a little too deep, so you could either just do a little squat down and up. You're still hinging the hips back. You're squeezing through the thigh, squeezing those glutes together. So it can be a slight down and up. Now, if you feel like you'd like to go a little deeper, but maybe not quite as deep as the stationary squat, you could have a chair behind you, coffee table, chair, bench, and you're going to do a stand and sit. This is going to modify the squat while protecting your knees and also be very functional. You know, we do have to stand and sit often. Zipping the zipper up the back of the thigh, front of the thigh on the way down. Back of the thigh and butt, front of the thigh on the way down. So that's another squat modification. So we have our knee lifts, we have side leg lifts, we have rear leg extensions, we have a slight squat, which is the sit back and stand, or you can sit up and down on the bench. Moving forward a little, we could also do more of a balanced squat or a stability squat, which is going to have you just do a little lunge to the side and step together, lunge to the side, step together. So you're going to bend the knees a little, but you're not going super deep. And this would be an excellent modification for a side squat or a side lunge. You're not going super deep. If you wanted to alternate and work a little stability and balance for a squat, you could do a directional squat, which would be a front and back step. So it mimics movement and walking, but it's going to hit that same muscle, the quad, the glute, and also engage balance. And we can take this front and back and move in any direction. So you can be directly front, you can go to a side, diagonal, you can go, as we did before, out to the side. You can also go back at a diagonal or back and front. Same thing on the other side. So if we're doing basic squats in class. Let's say we're going to do 10 of them. You might want to do forward and back, forward and back. You can take it bigger. I'll go sideways. You can go all the way forward, all the way back, all the way forward, all the way back. You could do 5 on one side, 5 on the other. Making sure that when you're taking your foot placement, you're going to want to make sure your feet are straight. And then when you step back, you're going to want it to be straight as well. I'm just at a camera frame there. You're going to come back. So you want to make sure your heel doesn't turn in. You're going to want to stay stable. So that directional front, back, side are excellent modifications for either a squat or a lunge. They will help you with balance, stability, and if you are contracting, that means I want you to squeeze the butt while you do this movement. It's going to resemble a squat without bothering your knees. So squats and lunges, those are some options. Just to review one more time in summary, you can do a small squat. You could also do a small lunge, but I think actually the step back is more effective, or step forward. You could do knee lifts, side leg lifts, or rear leg extensions for cardio. You could find a bench and you could do stand and sit. You could also then factor in any of our directional movements. Front, back, side, diagonal. So any movement pattern you can work in there for your squats and lunges. And one other option might be a little more advanced if your knees are ready, would be a plie squat rather than a straight squat. Because when we're in this wider position, the knees track a little easily over the toes. So you don't always have to do a front squat. You can be doing a wider squat. And again, you can choose down a little, up a little, down a little deeper, up a little deeper, down all the way, and up. Either way, glutes are tight, thighs press back, and you keep the work right here in the thighs and the glutes. Of course, you're standing tall, abs are in. That goes without saying. So there are some of our options for incorporating a modification to squat or lunge. If you have any questions, if you'd like me to focus a little specifically on anything that's going on with you, send me a quick message and I'll work with you on it. Hope that helped.